So this is going to be another movie review. This one's called The Avenging Conscience, also known as Thou Shalt Not Kill, 1914. Directed, produced, and written by D.W. Griffith. I love this flick. I'm giving it 5 out of 5 stars. I knew I was going to love this movie. It's got the little cabinet of Dr. Caligari kind of plot twist at the end. It's supposed to be the first horror movie ever. And I was reading up some more about the less politically correct history of G.W. Griffith. So it turns out his father was a Kentucky general in the Confederate Army, and so he pulled a lot of his stuff for Birth of a Nation from his dad, and then he got some from The Klansman, which was a play that his wife was in, and then he pulled some from a book. I don't recall the name of it, and so it was kind of a mishmash, but I didn't realize that the Klan started as a resistance to Andrew Johnson's corrupt, inept Reconstruction scheme. And I guess the NAACP was against this movie, caused a lot of riots and things. Probably because they didn't like the fact that it came from the perspective of a Southerner who disliked the whole idea of Reconstruction. And therefore, the perception in The Birth of a Nation, I've never actually seen the movie, is that blacks are dumb and the Klan are good people. So there's that. I'm not sure how you could twist it around if it's coming from the perspective of a Southerner who's fighting against Reconstruction, how you could twist it around and make it anything other than what it was. And D.W. Griffith followed up to all of the criticism with the intolerance. That was his response, which I have not seen also. This is my first D.W. Griffith movie that I've seen, although supposedly he's made 500 of them, which is quite amazing. That's like Jesus Franco kind of production, pumping out like 20 movies every year, something crazy. And yeah, it's incredible. The amount of skill, not in just Birth of a Nation, which I haven't seen, but also this movie, the Avenging Conscience. It's got all kinds of special effects with ghosts and ghouls and things. He was definitely an innovator, much more so than Godard. As a matter of fact, I read that Birth of a Nation, the John Ford played one of the Klansmen. He got knocked over by his horse, and he woke up and he saw D.W. Griffith instead of God. And about 40 years later, he copied the same chase scene in one of his movies. He ripped it off from Birth of a Nation. So that gives you an idea of the amount of influence. Although Birth of a Nation, the whole controversy that surrounded it probably increased the ticket sales. And there's never been a movie that sold that many tickets, as far as I know, as Birth of a Nation. Um, and the amount of cash that flowed into Hollywood to finance other movies as a result of Birth of a Nation was also quite influential on the whole movie making process during the silent era. So pretty cool stuff. This movie is weird. Avenging Conscience. It kind of rips off the Telltale Heart, which creeped me out when I was reading it as a kid. Um, if you want to see a really good reading of the Telltale Heart, check out Vincent Price's reading of it. Good stuff. And then so this disc is heavily influenced by Poe. I think there's a Poe short film in this one, which has an actor who looks like Poe, but I don't believe it is Poe. It's just an actor portraying Edgar Allan Poe who looks a lot like him, and by coincidence. And the Avenging Conscience is about this nephew who he has his uncle really feels affectionate towards him, so he sort of takes him under his wing, gives him a job, and doing what, I don't know, some kind of business he's got going. And so the nephew's working in the office. He starts courting this Annabelle Lee, I think her name is. Annabelle Lee. Yeah, there's a 1909 short film in this one called Edgar Allan Poe. And the actor's name is Herbert Yost, who plays Poe. So I guess the uncle's all he's got a wad in his pants because I guess he's all mad because jealous or whatever that his nephew is devoting so much of his time to this Annabelle. And so they end up so the nephew ends up choking his uncle to death, and then walling him up in the fireplace, covering his dead body with bricks to make it look like some kind of fraudulent fireplace kind of deal. And then he starts seeing the ghost of his uncle. Pretty cool special effects for 1914, man. And then he starts seeing like images of Christ and the tablets that God wrote, gave to Moses, and then in particular the ones that say "Thou shalt not kill." Thus, the alternate title for this movie. And then he starts seeing all these ghouls and stuff. The uncle's friend is like a detective. He wants to force a confession out of the nephew, and he does. Then there's a cool shootout, and there's like this Italian drunk guy who's supposed to be guarding the nephew from the detective guy, but he's not very effective. He's kind of chicken, and he's kind of asleep at the wheel, like my coworker. And I don't know, just like this Italian drunk guy. He witnessed the murder through the window. He just happened to be drunk, and he was like smoking a cigarette, and he peeped and he saw the nephew choking his uncle through the window. So of course he demanded hush money, and he got it after the nephew got the uncle's inheritance somehow. I'm not sure how you get an inheritance after somebody's missing, and it was a little confusing in the beginning when the nephew got some kind of note from Annabelle that was apparently directed to the uncle, and he like intercepted it, and then um, he showed up instead of the uncle, and he they immediately fell in love with each other. Oh, then when Annabelle discovers that the nephew tried to the nephew made the confession, he tried to hang himself, she jumps off the rocky cliff like Josette Collins from Dark Shadows. And I don't know where Dan Curtis got some of his ideas, probably from this movie, but yeah, pretty cool little gothic kind of weird stuff. I can't even describe the ending to you. It's so bizarre. D.W. Griffith, he's got it's a silent movie, black and white, of course. So he's got every single slide with the words describing what's happening is like it's got Griffith or D.W. Griffith on it, and pretty cool. I just love this flick. I'm not gonna say that D.W. Griffith wasn't racist, but politics aside, he was a great filmmaker. And like I said, I haven't seen Birth of a Nation, so I can't really judge whether it's racist or not without actually seeing it. But from what I've read, it's definitely pioneering. At least the chase scene was one of the best ever, and so it has that. I'm kind of curious to check it out, but I'm not in a rush to see it. I'll probably get around to it one of these days, but I might even have it in my Netflix queue, and I don't remember, but that I wonder how many of his films actually survived. How many of the 500 are still exist and able to watch them. I'm more interested in that, but I didn't really care for the Poe short film. It was called Edgar Allan Poe. I guess I should review that one separate, but it's only like 5 minutes long or something. So, anyways, pretty cool little disc from Kino. Kino has a lot of cool old movies like I don't know, Daughter of Horror, aka Dementia. There's Deranged, I think, and bunch of other old movies. I think Kino's the best when it comes to super old movies, black and white films. Um, so, Daughter of Horror or Dementia is probably the best one. But there's also that crazy movie with the bearded mad scientist guy. I forget the name of it. I think it might be called Deranged, but I forgot. So anyway, this week has been pretty crazy. I mean, I was driving to work at 5 a.m. on Sunset Boulevard here in San Francisco. Some crazy limo driver in a big black SUV, just without it turning on the signal or bothering to look to see that I was in the other lane. He just swerved right into me. And there was a center divider, so there's no way for me to, swerve out of the way. So there's dents and scratches all over the right side of my car. I finally got the responsible party to pay me for at least some of the damages, but they sent the check to the wrong address. So I got to deal with that. I went to get my teeth cleaned. My gums were pretty strong. The tingling sensation in my mouth went away. I guess it was my imagination from too much red light. And I got the dental claim form to submit to my dental carrier so I could get some cash. But then I mixed it together with the estimate paperwork that I gave to the auto repair shop today. So hopefully they still have it and they can just give it to me Monday. Otherwise, I got to request it again from the dental office, which is a real pain. I had to take a couple days PTO to deal with all this crisis stuff going on with my car. Been driving around with this damage on my car because everybody says my car is drivable and therefore I don't need to rent a car while they're ordering the parts and getting the other party to pay. So I won't get a rental car till Monday. I've got to drive this car around with all the damage on the side. My boss noticed a big dent in the bumper, and so right now the damage is about $1,500, but I'm sure it'll go up because the guy told me there was additional damage. So I took PTO days for my part-time employer. I usually work late afternoons to mid-evenings on Mondays and Wednesdays, but I had to take 2 days off at 16 hours, which is more than the 5-hour shifts that I would normally work on Mondays and Tuesdays. So I got an extra 6 hours pay for not working. And then my phone couldn't accept incoming or outgoing calls because for some odd reason the calls were going through Wi-Fi and it wasn't connected to Wi-Fi. Plus I had a dirty SIM card. So I got that fixed. But it just seems like one thing after another. The only thing I got to worry about really is getting my ex-wife to come here and check out this place so that I don't have to rent a hotel for my vacations with my son. Um, but I have a feeling she's going to object to something, and then she'll try to use it against me in court. This is just the kind of person she is. But anyways, I'm ready for whatever nonsense she has to throw at me. And then I got the oral surgery I need done on my gum to repair the ripped gum around my dental implant. So just been a crazy new year. I don't remember myself being this busy for not working as much, but I never imagined that I'd have this much stuff to contend with, especially with the accident on Monday. That really was a major inconvenience for me. So just one of those things in life that have to go through from time to time. I probably did more damage to that Toyota Corolla than any of my other cars combined. And I did total one car when I was young and kind of reckless. But anyways, enough about me. I think I talked about D.W. Griffith enough. Like I said, this is the first movie that I've seen by him other than the Edgar Allan Poe short film, and which is a bonus feature on this disc. And so I liked what I saw. I liked it a lot. Highly recommended. Check it out. I'll try to find it on YouTube if it's public domain. It's certainly old enough to be public domain, but I know there's not a trailer for it because they didn't have trailers back in those days. But I'll look for I'll look and see if it's on YouTube, and I'll post it in the description box if it is. Definitely cool flick with a little moralistic twist to it, and kind of a cabinet of Dr. Caligari meets the Telltale Heart kind of thing. And I love the cabinet of Dr. Caligari. I used to watch that over and over again at my grandmother's house, but my mother never wanted to watch it. My mother and I never shared the same taste in movies. I tried to make her to be like my stepdad, but that was a major fail on my part. There were some movies that we both enjoyed watching together, but for the most part, my taste was definitely not anything that she cared to watch. A lot of times she'd just get up and leave, or she'd just flat out tell me, I don't like this kind of movie. So kind of similar to my son in that respect. He thinks the stuff that I watch is weird, which is like a badge of honor for me because I like to watch weird movies. The weirder, the better. So I'm glad I finally got through this one. I was just waiting for my hair to dry, and I didn't have to work my second job, but Now that my hair is dry, I think I'll go crash. I got the Batman and Robin cereal from 1948. So I'll be watching that for a while. Probably do one review and then have a big break till I get back into the movie section of my Netflix queue. But uh, maybe I'll get around to reviewing movies again in a couple weeks after I do Batman and Robin serial, which I'm probably going to love. Um, I love the first Batman serial, which was racist against Japanese. The J. Carroll Nash and the crazy costumes and the black and white kind of noir stuff. But anyways, yeah, you can see Batman serial on YouTube for sure. Because I used to show it to my son when he was like 3. But anyways, uh, I hope I'm not condoning racism by saying that I like G.W. Griffith. Like I said, I've never seen Birth of a Nation or Intolerance, so I really can't comment to that aspect or criticism of it. But other than to say that it's coming from the perspective of a Southern who hates Reconstruction, and that was the whole origin of the Klan in the beginning. So, kind of interesting. I didn't know that until I read up on it. And I guess the Klan has morphed into something more hideous, like a racist organization, which is certainly the case later on. But I don't know if Griffith actually intentionally tried to make a racist movie. I think he was just trying to tell a story from his father's perspective, or 3 different avenues, uh, all of which were sort of approaching the Reconstruction from a skeptical standpoint. It certainly was a bad time. I mean, Andrew Johnson is generally regarded as one of the worst presidents ever. Um, I think he's only one of 2 presidents that have been charged with impeachment. The other one being Bill Clinton, if I'm not mistaken. But ironically, Bill Clinton is regarded as a good president by most historians. Andrew Johnson, not so much. So there's that. And I guess I'm not going to beat a dead horse and talk about it endlessly, but I just thought that aspect of it was interesting. And I'm sorry if I offended anybody by trying to defend Griffith in that respect, but I think most people will admit that he was a great innovator in film, and he certainly gave John Ford his idea for that chase scene. So, anyways, I'm not going to belabor the point. I just wanted to throw that in there. So, I guess we'll crash out and start watching the Batman and Robin serial. Hopefully, I can get through one disc. But by Friday, and then I'll post my review up this weekend. Oh, gotta take my car in for maintenance. That's another thing. So I'm thinking I'll just drive down to Daly City and just watch Netflix the whole time while my car is being worked on. Sounds like a plan, but I don't know how much charge my DVD player can handle before the battery dies. Maybe a couple hours. So I should be able to get through one disc by Saturday at least. We'll see how that goes. So until then, my life can't get any worse. So it can only get better, I guess, from the standpoint of domino effect happening with my phone and my car and my dental work. It's just one thing after another. I keep forgetting to do stuff, and got too much stuff going on. It's just overwhelming for me, all this stuff going on in my personal life with this, that, and the other. But I'll get through it, and hopefully things will get better tomorrow. We'll see. Tomorrow is always another day. The sun will go up tomorrow, no matter how bleak yesterday was. So gotta stay optimistic about it. Just keep plugging away. Maybe 5 years from now, I'll just find a girlfriend finally. Who knows? Could take 5 years for all I know. And then I'll be 53, and my best friend will be like, "Ooh, let's make up for lost time." Yeah, my dreams. So my teeth are nice and clean. I'm gonna stick this Avenging Conscience in the mailbox and just watch a ton of Batman and Robin serials. I think I can get it through it pretty quick because I'm a big fan of serials in general. So, especially the Phantom Creeps, that's probably my favorite one. Of course, Flash Gordon is great. Then Captain America. Purple Monster Strikes. What else? I'm trying to think. Commander Cody. I forget the name of that one. The one with Commander Cody. I've seen a lot of serials, but I can't remember all their names. I used to have a book about serials. So, yeah, another great period from 30s and the 40s. There might be some silent ones, a bunch of serials that don't exist anymore. But I can't remember. I used to have that book. My stepdad gave it to me. It was the coolest gift ever, besides Joe Bob Briggs' book. Anyways, I think I've rambled on enough about this, that, and the other. So have a good night. I guess I'll see you Saturday when I do my Batman and Robin serial review. Laters.